You know, for example, you can see there's kind of a point that's off of this one right here. I might start driving right out here. 95 feet. Ooh. That bigger one was starting to go down. That one bit right on the drop. 29 inches. Oh, what a beauty. Well, welcome back. If you are new around here, my name is TJ Erickson. I am a teacher and fishing guide based out of beautiful Park Rapids, Minnesota. And in this series of videos, I'm actually not in the Park Rapids area. I do a yearly trip up to one of my favorite bodies of water, and that is Rainy Lake. My wife and I went up there again this year and stayed up at Sunset Country Outfitters again with Matt and Alyssa. And I tell you what, they just run a top-notch program out there. It is such a cool area. It's on its own private island. And honestly, from my doorstep to the boat landing, it is only a 3-hour trip. Once you get the boat in, it is literally probably a 2-minute boat ride to this own private secluded island. So it honestly feels like you're on a fly-in fishing trip with the luxuries of being able to have a quick and short boat ride. I will put all their links to their websites, their social medias. Go ahead and check them out. If you have any questions, reach out. They would love to help. And honestly, follow them on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, and you will just see the quality of fish that they are cracking on a daily basis. So go ahead and check them out and give them a follow. So the reason that I'm talking to you here in my boat is 2 reasons. One, the first morning, went out, caught some fish, was coming back, downloading the footage, and I thought I had transferred it all to my hard drive, deleted it off the SD card to go film the next day, and I had not had it all transferring. It was still in the process. So lost a bunch of footage, but luckily I did keep a few of the biggest fish that I caught that day. So I'm gonna throw those in this video today. Some of them might not have all the angles, you know, I might not have some of my GoPro, so it might be a little bit goofy as far as that goes, but I stuck some good fish. And so I'm gonna show you some of those fish catches, and then I'm gonna show you exactly how I go about breaking apart some of this mid-lake structure to find some of these bigger fish. We're first gonna get into a few of those fish catches, and actually this first fish isn't even a walleye, it's a pike, but it was a sweet bite on the live scope on the suspended fish, so I wanted to throw that in there. But we're gonna jump into these fish catches, and then we'll talk all about how I break apart this mid-lake structure here in a second. Ooh, there's a good fish high. I'm gonna toss a swim bait on it here. Suspended up there. Should be getting close to it. Let's see if he sees it. Oh, he sees it, I think. Oh, there he went for it. Oh, I think he has it. I think he has it. Oh, we got him. Suspended big mark. Oh. You bet. Good pike. Good pike. I guess not that big. I still have the big motor on, but there we go. Sweet pike on the live scope, just suspended over this deep water. I haven't even really started driving around yet. Finally, I cast out at 70 feet for this guy. Seems decent, but all the fish in here do. This guy's staying down okay. That's a good fish. Stay pinned, stay pinned. It's a good fish. That is a good start. Good start to the morning. Not a stud, but even these ones look so big in this lake because they are so thick. And man, is he feisty. Whew. He's fighting a lot bigger than he is, that's for sure. Oh, there we got him in. Well, not a long fish by any means, but this thing is just a blimp. 25 inches and fat. We're gonna get this one right back. That one bit right on the drop. Again, I hope you can see that. I thought I saw that fish going for it, and then sure enough, you just felt a little thump. But all these fish in here just fight so hard. Oh. Come on. It's dogging me pretty good. Just want to see what we're working with. Oh, spun around a little bit. I don't like how that felt. This one might. Oh. Stay pinned here. God, these things are just so feisty. Another big fish. Come on. Another good fish. Come on. Come on. Oh, nice. Oh, and he popped off right as we got him into the net. Oh, just another sweet fish. Man, all these fish are so thick, and I think I'll probably say that every time because it's true. I'm just amazed at how thick and how dark these fish are. I'll pull this one out here. Put it on the bump board here quick. Ooh, 29 inches. Oh, what a beauty. Biggest walleye of the spring so far for me, I think. Oh, these fish are so thick. That was a fun bite right there. We're gonna get this one back. Oh, what a sweet fish. That is what you come here for right there. Especially that high one. Looks good. 35 feet. Not too far out. Ooh. That bigger one is starting to go down. There it is. Yep. Yep, that was the one we were looking for. That was the one we were looking for. I think that was the one that bit. Oh yeah, it's a good fish. Looks like a good fish. Oh yeah, another stud. God, all these fish in here are so quality. And again, just popped off right in the net. These jigging wraps make me so nervous. But man, do they catch fish. There we go. You bet. 26 and a half. That was the one that was a little bit higher from what I think. And that is the one we are hoping would go. Oh, these fish are just so thick. You can see a little scarring right there from something. Woo. Sweet. What a fun fish right there. I just drove up on a new hump, just left that last spot. Sure enough, I see this group of fish. Some were a little bit lower, so I wasn't sure if they were gonna be walleyes or suckers. But there was that one that was a little bit higher, seemed a little bit bigger. And sure enough, cast it beyond it. Once it got close, you saw that thing diving down. And usually when they dive down like that, that is a sign that they are chasing it, trying to trap it to bottom. And again, that jigging wrap bite is just so much fun. At this point, might as well put the other rods away because that definitely seems to be what's working. It's one of my absolute favorite bites. So there you have it, a few great fish from that first morning. Over the next couple mornings, I stuck a bunch more big fish. So you're gonna wanna stick around for these next couple videos that I have coming up. But just a great, great fishery. I'm gonna show you how I kind of went about breaking apart these pieces of structure. And the first thing I did, I'm gonna hop on my Humminbird here. I'm gonna show you exactly how I set up my unit first. The first thing that you do, you go to a body of water, whatever body of water it is that you're looking for, and I first have to set up my map how I want it. So the first thing that you do is you hit menu, and you hit menu again. Once you get there, you can toggle through these top ones going left and right, and you want to be on the HB chart. And for this unit, I have a highlight 1 right here. So I have that mark that I want to have that highlight, and I can set my minimum and I can set my maximum. For this example, I like to use 15 to 25 feet. So my highlight minimum is 15 feet. Highlight maximum is 25 feet because that's the depth range that I was finding these fish in. A few weeks ago, it might have been 10 to 20 feet. You know, and another couple weeks towards midsummer, late summer, I might be moving that from 20 to 30 feet. As these fish move out deeper, I'm doing a similar pattern, but using a little bit different depth. You can see your shallow water highlight right up here. I have that set to less than 10 feet. So now that I have my map set up how I want, it makes it very easy to break down some of these big bodies of water. So now when I go to an area like this, first thing I do is I look for my deeper water. In this example, you can see a lot of deep water here. There's some deep water in here. That's that darker blue. And the reason I'm looking for deep water is because these bigger fish, these big pike, these big walleyes, they tend to hang around that deep water because that is where their forage base is hanging out. You know, a lot of these deep clear lakes like this, they have cisco, they have smelt, and these bigger fish are chasing those because they're an awesome meal for these big pike and big walleyes. So I want to be around deep water so that way they are around some of those ciscos and some of those smelt. When I'm around that deep water, now I can start to look for some of that mid-lake structure. So I see a bunch of deep water out in this range, and now I can start looking for my green. And what I'm typically looking for to start is some of those bigger areas of green that are close to deep water. So for example, when I zoom in right here, you can see some deep water on this side, some deep water on this side, and then there's this big patch of green. And I like some of these bigger areas to start because you can check a lot of different stuff and there is a much higher percentage of numbers of fish being there. You know, on some of those small spots, maybe it's a little hump like that or a little hump like that. There might only be 1 or 2 big fish on there, where a series of structure like this, you might be able to find quite a few areas that are holding some good fish. So now that I kind of identified the structure that I'm looking for, now I can zoom in a little bit more and really start to break down the spot on the spot. And right out of the gate, some of the first things that I check on these spots, is the top. So there you can see this series of humps right here has some high points to it. So here's one, looks like maybe 13. There's one right here at 14, another one at 16. Those are typically some of the first areas that I'm checking because those are some of your high percentage areas. You know, if I'm afraid I might spook some of the fish or if I start seeing that there's some fish on the edges, I might work those edges first so I don't drive over them and spook them. But typically those are going to be some of your high point areas that are going to be holding a lot of fish. You know, for whatever reason, they like to be up on top of that. They might be on this rubble, on this rock, chasing some more forage such as crayfish or such as perch. When I first get to some of those structures, those are some of the things that I target. Another thing that I might target is any sort of point. You know, for example, you can see there's kind of a point that's off of this one right here. I might start driving right out here because you see this little exterior hump. That might also be holding fish, might be a little deep right now, but it might be holding a few. So you can go up to these edges that are really close to that deep water, that are kind of adjacent to that deep water. Those might be areas to try first, and that might be the direction where I come in on this piece of structure from. Then what I do is once I identify some of these kind of your sweet spots, kind of these spots on the spots, a few more that I might look for something like this. That's a saddle in between these two humps. That's kind of a high traffic area for these fish. As they're moving around this structure, if they're out a little deeper like that, they might be moving in those saddles. There might be some sandy flats, there might be some shoal rock that they're kind of cruising around. Other things you can see right here, there's almost like a secondary point. There's the high top right here. Then it goes to this little secondary point. That's likely going to be some sort of pile of rocks or rubble. That's going to be holding a lot of fish typically. You can also look into this inside turn right here. That's right adjacent to that point that's sticking out. That's another high traffic area. A lot of what you're looking for on structure is very similar depending on the time of year, but it can even be consistent throughout summer, winter, spring. And a lot of it just depends on how the lake is made up. So now that I've kind of identified some of these sweet spots that I want to be targeting, what I will do is I will drive up close to them. For example, I might drive out to here, then I might get my stuff set up. I might get my trolling motor down, I might get my live scope down, have everything ready so that way I can be ready to pitch on a fish at any given moment. So once I have that down, I might drive up to a piece of structure. I'll be scanning with my live scope. I might drive out check out this point right here. And if I don't see anything, just keep driving over. And then there might be a group of fish on this one right here. Once I see those, I put it in reverse so I don't drive over those fish and spook them. And I immediately hit spot lock. Sometimes I might have to readjust depending on what the wind is doing, because I don't want to be losing where these fish are. I want to be able to make accurate casts to them. And then I will go around, and once I identify these fish on the live scope, then I will cast to them and try to read their reaction. And I'm not going to talk too much about how I kind of use my live scope to target these fish, because I will do another video on that where I really specifically break down how to target some of the bigger fish and where to look for these fish on this structure. But for right now, I'm just going to talk again about how I target them on some of this mid-lake structure. Once I see them, I stay off of them, I cast them, I see how they react, and that tells me if I want to stay there and fish them a little bit longer, try some different techniques, or if I want to move on to a different area. So that is how I kind of go about breaking down some of these pieces of mid-lake structure on some of these bigger bodies of water. And this can be very consistent throughout the upper Midwest when you have some of these deep, clear lakes. When you're targeting some walleyes, these deep clear lakes with a lot of structure, fish very similarly depending on their makeup. And this is a pattern that I've seen on a ton of different lakes, whether it's local here in Park Rapids or on some of these bigger bodies of water like Lake of the Woods or Rainy Lake. So I hope you're able to find some value in this video. It might have been like drinking through a fire hose here. If you did find some value, I would love it if you would subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Really looking forward to editing the rest of these videos because I had some big fish, some great bites, and some really cool live scope footage, and even some things that I learned along the way that maybe I didn't go into it thinking, or maybe some new kind of areas that I'm really excited to show you how I kind of broke down these bodies of water and found some big fish. So as always, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. I hope you're gonna like these series of videos here from Rainy Lake because I had a blast up there catching some of these bigger walleyes. So again, thanks so much. Appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for the next ones.